Now, I heard someone say America is one of the sickest nations in the world. What do you think? Are we one of the sickest nations in the world?
Close to 70%, 7 out of 10 Americans are either overweight or obese. But when I think about it, when I travel, you mentioned.
Okay, team, we're here today with a very, very special guest. I'm excited to talk to this guy. This guy on the line here is a legend in the fitness world. We're talking to Kurt Mangum. It's Mangum, right, Kurt? Did I get that correct, sir?
Yes,
All
spot
right.
on.
Spot on. Hey, man, thank you so much. Hey, thank you for being here. And, I have a pet peeve about pronouncing people's names correctly because my name's Shannon and people have called me Sean and Shane and all these crazy things. And I'm like, ah. So Kurt, I want to get your name right, but we're so glad to have you, Kurt. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. Love everything that you've built. Your passion, enthusiasm, being able to be alongside a champion right here is always a blessing. And being able to share healthy living and wellness is something that's always a treat. So I had this circled on my calendar.
Well, man, well, thank you. Yes, we are blessed to be doing this, right? I mean, I love doing it, and I want to jump right in with ISSA, International Sports Science Association, right? So
Yes.
ISSA. So tell me all about ISSA, and maybe before you jump in there, maybe about you and how you got into this seat, man, because this is powerful what you're doing. So let's talk about Kurt first and roll into ISSA.
Amazing. That sounds great. Well, a little background, Kurt Mangum II. I'm ISA's Vice President of Partnerships. But before that, I've been super passionate about fitness and wellness. And really, I like to say that my mission is around creating generational health personally, because I've seen how important it is for healthy habits to be passed down and the impact of, curable diseases and things on not only my family members and loved ones, but I wanted to be able to be a part of the change. And so I started off, I was a young athlete. I actually struggled with my weight and wanted to get healthier as a young man and transformed my health and wellness. Went on to become a star football player. I was an All-American linebacker out of Chandler High School in Arizona, which I live in Arizona now. Went up to the University of Washington in Seattle and then finished my career and got my master's degree from the University of Akron in Ohio. And the story doesn't kind of stop there. So I had an incredible senior season and was a team captain and played in the NFLPA, like college all-star game. And I shortly after tore my hamstring on my NFL pro day in front of quite a few NFL teams. And so it was a really defining moment for me because it was a bit of a fork in the road, right? What's the now? What's plan B? What does that next step and journey look like now that it's not the NFL? And so not only finishing my master's, but then being able to spend some time really exploring my passion and how to help other people. So from working as a coach and hosting boot camps with my wife outside of Kiwanis Park in Tempe, Arizona, to having a gym, doing gym operations and things, to corporate wellness, I got a chance to see a lot of different vantage points across the fitness industry. And it really opened a lot of doors for me to get introduced about 6 years ago to ISSA, which is the International Sports Sciences Association. And ISSA is the global leader in fitness certifications, having certified over 650,000 trainers over the past 38 years. And ISSA has members in 176 countries. So to see the impact, and for those that don't know, certified personal training is one of those key elements to working in a gym, starting your own business, really being able to pursue a passion in fitness or wellness. And so that's our like flagship certification, but we've expanded beyond to nutrition and recovery, GLP-1s for weight loss support, kickboxing, you name it. We've got something for everybody.
Yep, you said my love language there, kickboxing. Hey, well, it's what a good story, and man, you got more letters behind your name than the alphabet, man. You got all the letters. I don't see how you do it. So, well, congrats on all the success and what a career, and you're in the right place and doing the right thing. So let me ask you this about the fitness in general. It's we're trying. The industry's unregulated pretty much, right? It's an and we're trying to bring structure to the industry and the safest way possible. And so let's talk. I think in our lifetime, mine and yours and everyone listening here, we think before COVID, the pandemic and after COVID, the pandemic, right? I mean, that's kind of like what in our brain sticks there. So if you can talk about before the pandemic, what was happening, where the fitness world sits, where it was during and after, what's different, what's changed. Can you give us a little insight from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. And as I think about pre-pandemic on the fitness industry, I think, there were some different elements that have shifted or changed. And so one of them that comes to my mind, there used to be more of a requirement pre-pandemic that when you took a certification, whether it's personal training or one of the other modalities, you had to go and sit for a proctored
Mm,
exam in person at a testing facility, which we can imagine that's a barrier for a lot of people, right? If you're working or if you're a parent or you have something that's going on that doesn't enable you to be able to stop and go get a proctor test and sit down in front of someone to be watched. And also how many people have test anxiety as well, right? Where you're great, you know the information, but like being on the clock and having everybody stare at you kind of, can be a form of anxiety and is a challenge or a barrier for people. So what happened that I would just say is a key call out, this is one. But after the pandemic, post pandemic, what we saw when the pandemic hit was that those testing centers were closed. And so a lot of the gyms, the employers, the operators, those hiring decision makers for a lot of the gyms in the fitness industry loosened up some of their regulations because of the fact that you didn't have to sit for a proctored exam or you could do, an online virtual option. There was just more alternatives, much like schooling, right? Which opened up for more people to one, be able to get certified, but also another big element from like the fitness industry perspective, and it's impacted us significantly on the certification side, is we've seen such a demand coming out of the pandemic where people saw your predisposition to have issues is much higher if you're not healthier, right? If you're struggling from
right.
some of these other things that you can control through lifestyle habits, behaviors, like that can be the difference between getting really sick or not being as sick or making it and not making it. And so I think there was also a shift where people realized, wait a minute, I really need to prioritize my health. I really need to focus on being able to close, kind of close that gap of where I am to where I want to be from a health perspective, which has opened up so many opportunities where we're seeing the boom of recovery. We're seeing the
Yep.
boom of
Yep.
obviously GLP-1s and weight loss, but we're
Hmm.
also seeing just a boom of Pilates, yoga, kickbox. We're seeing where people are
Yep.
looking for more community now coming out of the pandemic than ever before, and they're finding that community through fitness, whether it's a running club, it's a high rocks type of training, it's a CrossFit. Like
Yep.
people are finding their kind of their jam when it comes to the fitness industry. And it allows us to be able to be a part of that experience by making sure people are certified, equipped. But there's 74,000 open jobs for personal trainers right now in the US.
Wow, man. So we need to get certified and then go help some people, right? That's all
Correct.
we have to do,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
so let me ask you this, Kurt. This is kind of one of my personal things that I question, like the school system, right? Let's talk about the U.S. school system, and we work around the world, you and I both. And how come like my child, I have an 18-year-old son, a 25-year-old daughter. How come they didn't learn nutrition in middle school? How come they learned the four food groups? I mean, and how come they didn't learn, cardiovascular health and strength training and flexibility and these things early? And how could we change that? I think we're just trying to change it by, giving the programs we offer. But what are your thoughts on that? I think it should be ingrained much earlier in the American society about nutrition and health. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a pretty big disconnect. And so, thanks for sharing having, 25 and 18, those are critical ages, right? And
Yeah,
they're also seeing whether that's groups of friends, those that have been building those healthier habits. I'm sure they're starting to maybe excel a little bit more than if you didn't create those habits early on, right? And so I
totally.
think it's so critical in the early years. And so I think one of the areas that is a gap that it can be bridged is really on the education side. Because if you think about it, even when you go to a doctor, right? For kids, you go, you see your, family doctor, et cetera. They're not talking about nutrition for the most part, right? They're talking about if you need to take
No.
any medications or things that you may need, but you're not really talking about it there, right? There's a lot of schools that have scaled back on physical fitness and gym or PE
Yeah.
and physical education. So that now is scaled back. So you're not doing any push-ups or the fitness tests that we maybe had to do back in the day.
Right.
You got to run a mile, you got to do a certain amount of push-ups and
Yep.
sit-ups and prove that like, hey, that you're going through these physical assessments. That's not happening. So now you're not getting the information. You're not physically getting active. Obviously, there's a lot of other things. We live in such a digital society where there's obviously a lot more video games and things where it's like, hey, I can be a gamer and don't need to go out and play sports or do some of the other things that really drove a lot of engagement and community. And so I think fitness plays a key role in being able to really, like, I think about some of the partners that we have that we're serving in both the college, in like institutional standpoint, as far as college and 4-year degree programs, but we also work with 2-year degree programs, trade schools. And
Mm.
that's really been a game changer because a lot of people don't realize that you can get your certification, get a guaranteed job, have an interview guarantee without a 4-year degree. Which not to say again, I've got a bachelor's and a master's, right? It's great to experience that, but if I didn't know back then what I knew now, that wait a minute, I could be passionate, I can bring the energy, I can bring discipline to a role, have my certification that I could finish in 2 to 3 months and literally launch a whole different career versus how many people do we know that invested 4 years or 6 years in a degree program, came back and were like, man, not only do I not necessarily feel equipped to have the information to go out and get a job, but then, there's some of those challenges there. So I think it's a really great question that you asked.
Well, it's funny you say that. My son's 18, and academia is not his world. Now, my 25-year-old, yes, she wants to go get her master's. She loves school. She loves college. But my son's not that way. And I told, we had the family meeting about education. I believe in further education, 1,000%, but it looks different for different people and how they are. And, so it's great. And my son is a fitness guy. I mean, he loves working out. He loves lifting weights. He's strong as an ox. And this is a route that you're talking about, getting a certification in 3, 4, 5 months, and then having a start in this career is so good to talk about this and know that that is an opportunity for people today. So, you don't have to go to Harvard, maybe, right? Maybe that's not the route, right? Maybe it's this is the route, right?
100%. And please tell your son too, as far as a North Star, because sometimes it's very disconnected when people talk about what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy? And then how do I also make a living, right? Because I'm sure you're like, hey, I don't want son living with dad forever, right? Or, I want him to be able to spread his wings. But what does that look like? How do you bridge those two things? And so just an example of that for the fitness industry, let's just use your son as an example at 18. Right now, he can get his certification in personal training, right? And CPR, which is great. He can
Yep.
finish that in. It's self-paced, but let's just say he finishes it in the average time, which is 6 to 8 weeks. We literally have interview guarantees set up
Mm.
with the top gyms and top partners. So I'm talking Lifetime, EOS Fitness, Equinox, 24-hour fitness, like you name it. And we also have the setup where no matter where you're based, we have hiring partners in those locations. So think about your son. Instead of him maybe going the 4-year and or master's degree route, 6 years, right? Like your daughter may do, he could say by next year, dad, my goal is to get my certification, get a job at the front desk at a gym, and then transition to becoming a trainer within the next 16 to 18 months. The average trainer at Lifetime and Equinox are making close to $120,000 a year, and they're training 7.5 clients a day.
Well, you get my camera guys excited over here. They're wanting to
I'm
go.
just
I'm gonna lose my camera guys at this
No,
job
I
if I
don't, I
don't.
don't, I don't want to lose anybody, but it puts it in perspective because people don't realize for some people that North Star is like, man, how do I make
Right,
$100,000? And it's like,
right,
well, did you
exactly.
know that you can do that as a coach and a mentor at a gym, or that you can work in one of the most beautiful clubs and you're connecting and helping people get healthier? For most people, for your son, don't get me wrong, is it hard work? Absolutely,
Of
right?
course,
Nothing worth having it comes easily. But for your son to know he would be doing hard work if he was doing something in another trade or if he
of
was
course,
working in college, or so it's just doing you what you enjoy. But now he spends probably 2 to 3 hours in the gym anyway because he loves working out. Think about that being a part of his daily routine. And now he's getting his work done. He's helping clients. His gym membership is paid for. Oh my gosh. kind of
What a
literally
deal.
it's life changing.
No, it's amazing, and it's great we're having this because hopefully we can open people's eyes to this opportunity that's out there. Now, I heard someone say, maybe it was a stat I read. I do a lot of reading. We're in this. We probably read a lot of the same things, but
Oh yeah.
and I heard America is one of the sickest nations in the world. That's what I heard. What do you think? Are we one of the sickest nations in the world?
I do think so. And from statistics, I know I just saw an update that said close to 70%, 7 out of 10 Americans are either overweight or obese, which we think about that, right? And what comes from, the obesity crisis and those challenges, both for the youth and for adults, it does increase your likelihood of high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, these different things that can be cured by healthier habits. But when I think about it, when I travel, you mentioned, we do a lot of work, not only domestically, but also internationally. When I go to some other countries, when I'm in Europe, when I'm in, other places, people are walking. People are on bikes. Like
Right,
the amount of
right,
people that
exactly.
are walking and on bikes, it's the equivalent of your whole family is walking to go to dinner, or even at dinner, we may walk afterwards, right? Even phones, like there's more engagement where everyone's not necessarily like on their phone or their device. You're having conversations or engaging with others. So, and I'm not saying it's like that in every other country, but I do think that that is a key part of what's happening here in the US. And also, I want to probably say the biggest one, I should have started here, but it is nutrition. I see you could see it more and more often when just a lot of people don't know about, like you said, I think it would be super impactful for kids, especially youth, to understand how to read a nutrition label. Because
100%.
a kid will see candy but not realize like, oh, it tastes good, it's yummy. And it's like, yes, it is, but it also has no nutritional value.
Yeah,
Well, it's like, well, what's
exactly.
nutritional value? What does that mean? Well, it means that you're eating this. It's calories, it's sugar, it's all of these things, but it's not giving your body anything that it needs, like if you have carrots, what that does for you. If you
Right,
have, blueberries, what that does for you. If you have greens and veggies, how that helps your, or if you just drink water, how good that is for your hydration and clarity. Like they don't really know. And again, most people don't know those elements. And I think the education around that is so critical and key because we don't, again, it's about taste and the satiation makes it hard. I mean, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
When I was a kid, I loved Frosted Flakes and
right,
Cinnamon Toast
right, right,
Crunch,
right,
but I didn't know how to read the box when I was like, playing sports. And they're like, man, we got to get your weight down for you to play Pop Warner football. I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, I'm eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch and, Pop Tarts and these things. And they're like full of sugar. I need water, but I'm drinking Gatorade because I'm an athlete. And I'm like, actually, some of those things were
right.
just way off. And those little changes, sometimes, we like to call my wife and I, we created the SWAN method, but one SWAN change. So a little bit more sleep, a little bit more water, getting a little bit more active, and more nutritional, nutritious options will help you feel better together. And so that's just one of those things that I always try to reiterate because it makes a huge difference.
Well, I love a good acronym. SWAN, right? So let me repeat that. Sleep, water, the
Activity,
activity, and then nutrition, right?
yes, yep,
Swan, take a swan dive, right?
boom.
It's funny, Kurt. My son and I will go grab lunch or something, and I'll quiz him on where's the protein here, where's the
Mhm.
carbohydrate here, what's the fat here, and he's learning. Oh, I see. That's the dietary fat. Oh, there's the carb. Oh, that's a starchy carb. Oh, there's a good lean protein, the fish. He's learning now to identify these things, and so I love what you guys are doing, educating people on all these aspects. Now, let's close this up, Kurt, by this here. Let's pretend, let's role play. I don't know I love fitness. I'm passionate about it, but I don't know where to go. So I go to your organization. I look around online. How do I get started? What's my next step moving forward?
Yeah, great question. The first thing I would say is you absolutely want to come to ISSAonline.com. We're
Okay.
also on all social media at ISSA Online. You'll be able to fill out a lead form or you can call us. So I know a lot of times people want to do their research online and take a look. So go right to our website. You can see everything about our partners, our amazing gym relationships. We are the only place that connects you. Not only do we educate you and get you certified 100% online at your pace, but we then help you with the success after you get certified. So we've got over 15,000 five-star reviews from just really providing top-notch experience. So if you're looking to figure that out, reach out to us, come to the site. You could also give us a call. We have fitness education advisors that will talk through the journey with you. Where are you in the plan? If you're military or a spouse of military, we have some incredible programs to help with funding. We really support and try to find ways to uplift everyone, no matter where their starting point is. And so it's going to open a lot of incredible doors for people. So just reach out, come to issaonline.com. We also have some incredible things set up, some special discounts that we have available. So we may have to, link that here. We may have linked that in the
Yeah,
show notes so
yeah,
they
we
can see
will.
the
We will.
discounts and access that as well, because we want to be able to help people not only get certified, but be able to find their sweet spot and find their success in the industry, because it may start off with just getting started for your own transformation. For your own journey, because you love fitness and love wellness, but then
Yep.
it opens doors to you helping your friends and family, to you having a part-time or a side hustle, to you having a full career opportunity where it changed my life. Fitness changed my life for the
Yeah.
better. I'm so grateful. I love opportunities to share my testimony and my experience, because the more people that I think hear from me, hear from you, it's life-changing, because they can see themselves following in the footsteps.
Man, I love it. I always say you can't give what you don't have. So let's get yourself in order. Love yourself. Then you can give so much love through fitness to others. Kurt, you're amazing. You're a swan. You're amazing. I'm so blessed to have you, man. Thank you so much for being here. You guys keep kicking. Let's keep getting the world fit. Let's go.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you.